up. Awesome. And if you both chuck your hand up, you probably already did. Okay. My next question is from the first Squad Sunday. Who here has either been asked or asked someone to collaborate, whether it went through or not?
Yeah, I was going to say, do know.
Cool. Dope. So that's totally my intention. Last year, I had this kind of vision and this dream, and I was really excited. And for whatever reason this year, I'm just going to do it because that's just, life is too short. So there is a reason that you're here. Yep, I have selected you guys and made sure that you're here for a reason. And the reason is this, that I want to bring the community together. There's so much power in collaboration. Yeah, we all sit in our studios or at home practicing singing or guitar, or whatever your instrument is, and we spend hours upon hours practicing, and we're so isolated. And we're isolated in an environment where we don't need to be. There's so many things that I've discussed when I do these interviews week to week with different people from the industry, and we're talking about things like mental illness and depression and anxiety. And it's not something we have to talk about today, but it's something that we all experience, and myself included. And I'm only able to sit here with confidence today and just share with you my experiences. I'm not putting myself in a position where I'm saying I fucking cracked it and I'm hugely successful. I'm still on my journey. You know, I had a career as an artist, and since I was 27, I changed my career to a music producer because that's just what I wanted to do, and I've always done what I wanted to do. So I work very, very hard, and there's topics from things that I've gone through that I can share and that I can help you guys kind of take leaps and jump forward. I had so many struggles as not just an artist, but a music producer, despite our personal lives. And when there's no one there with you on that journey, it's very, very difficult. It's very self-isolating. Like you guys were saying, we were talking before, like, it's so fucking hard. I don't feel like anyone's here. There's so many people pursuing the same thing. And there's so many of you in this room are fucking talented at what you do. And I have a great deal of respect for all of you. It doesn't matter if you consider yourself amateur or professional, because we all started at the beginning. You know, we all started not knowing what the hell we're doing. I started in my room making terrible tracks and singing and listening to my voice the first time, being like, oh, fuck, I didn't know I was that bad. Yeah, we've all been in these positions, and it's you're not going through those things alone. So my intention really is, I had a conversation with Aman the other day. He's like, bro, you're a teacher. And I never thought of myself as a teacher, but I just, I don't think of myself as a teacher. I think of myself as just a dude who's really open about helping and sharing information with you to make your lives easier, because mine wasn't. So only through those difficulties and the things that made it so fucking hard, I've just decided, like, it feels so good to help, and it feels so good to see you guys progress and to see you guys win. So I've written a few things down. I wanted to talk about social media because I think that's something that's going to bring value to a lot of you, especially as artists and music producers. I wanted to tell you about a few of the tricks. And I don't feel like anyone on Instagram is really Insta famous. It's all bullshit. Yeah, but it does take a lot of work. For one post, it can take me up to 2 to 2.5 hours to generate the likes and generate the comments that I receive. And it's not automated. It's not bots. I've tried all that shit. It doesn't work. Basically, the way to create interaction is you start this thing called DM groups, and they're private groups with about 15 people in each one. Now, the algorithm of Instagram is always changing and developing, and I don't know how long this is going to last, but Instagram is an incredible gateway to be able to contact people that you usually couldn't get in touch with. So you can basically get in touch with President of the United States, and you can get in touch with Beyonce and whoever you like. The chances of them getting back is probably really fucking small, but the chances of them actually reading it is also really high. Like, you don't know, they might just open it and open your post. And I
had Lil Wayne respond to an artist of mine when he was down here at Jumanji.
Fuck yeah. How dope is that? And because it seems so far out of reach, people don't actually do it.
And she's had some big people reply to her in the past as well.
That's amazing.
Like, literally just send a fucking text, you'll see them at the club or when they're doing a walkthrough and an appearance, like, hey, what's going on? 15 minutes later, be like, cool, sweet, we're here.
how fucking dope is that? So that's exactly why Instagram is so cool. I don't know if it's always going to be like that. There's probably going to be a stage where there's like the gatekeeper, you know, when you like cold call and the secretary goes, "Who are you? Why would you like to speak to him? What's your name?" etc. etc. So this is a really good way to get in touch with people that you love and admire, and potentially want to collaborate with as well. So the DM groups are through Instagram. There's another platform called Telegram. Telegram is basically a third-party platform that's outside of Instagram, so Instagram can't tell that you're trying to cheat. And it's not cheating, because through these DM groups, what actually happens is that you slowly over time, which I didn't realize till later, is you actually build connections with the people that you're in the DM groups with. And it actually creates business. You actually have collaborations, and there might be one in that 15 that you grow a liking to, or you kind of fuck with their shit or whatever. And that's how you start creating relationships through networking on social media. I think it's really important, because that's the day and age we live in. And again, when you're sitting in your bedroom by yourself all the time, how do you make contact with these people? So through Telegram, it's the same thing. You can comment on other people's posts, like the 10 before, and then they'll comment on yours. And what you find is the same people over and over again are interacting with your Instagram and your content, and you start to get to know them. That's what I didn't notice. I was like, okay, I'm cheating Instagram, but I actually know a lot of the people that are commenting on my Instagram, and it's really beneficial. It's something you should definitely get into. And if you have questions about those things, then I'm more than happy to help you. I see everyone with a bit of sweat on their brow, so I'll just turn up the aircon. So I wanted to also talk about competition. You know, this is also something that I feel like causes anxiety and depression and many things. And I have some students or clients who suffered from this type of thing, and it actually stops them from being creative, because they're in a space where they're constantly thinking, what are people going to think of this? And is it good enough? And, you know, if you're asking all these questions, it's not the right way to create. You need to be able to be in a positive space where your mind is free and you just kind of let things go. I remember when I first started producing, I was always asking for opinions. Lionel was doing this for ages. I'd always ask for his opinion and my other mates' opinions. And I really relied on those opinions as like the fucking opinion, you know, like if they didn't give me the thumbs up, and because they were my mates as well, they're not going to be assholes to me, you know what I mean? I got told by actually you, who was said by another businessman, friend of ours from ages ago, don't trust the 3 Fs, which is family, friends, and fools. And I thought it's really great, because as long as I've done anything, my mum's always said it's fucking amazing. And it's not obviously Tamika's mum as well. And it's not a great place to really get advice, because that's not what we want. We want honesty, and we want it to be authentic. And by actually putting it out there into the world, people are going to tell you what they think. And if they don't like it, they're not going to listen to it. It's just the way it is. So you need to get to a point with your creativity where you're kind of doing stuff that you think's dope and that you think is fucking valuable, because what I always say is, like, everyone in this room has different tastes, and not all of you are going to like the same music, and that's perfectly fine, because music is subjective. You know, you have one style and someone else has another. So if that guy who likes grunge, or the guy who likes hip hop hates the grunge song and the grunge guy hates the hip hop, doesn't mean that your song's bad, but that might break you when you fucking release it, and that guy gives you a bad comment. Music is subjective, and it's not about that. My taste in music isn't bad. So if I create something and I think it's awesome, other people are also going to think it's awesome. So that's kind of the place that we should create from. I want to talk about creating your own lane, and along this thing of competition, you're not competing with anyone. You're in your own lane. When you work hard, no one is going to basically catch up, because you create your own space. When you work that fucking hard, you create something that is yours. You're not competing anymore. And I don't have any reservations about giving things away, or giving secrets away, or helping or telling. And I actually really enjoy it, because 90% of people, and it's something I didn't understand till later, probably are not prepared to put in that hard work. And that's perfectly fine. Not everyone is chasing the same dreams. But 90% of people don't want to put in the work. When there's people going home and they're sitting on the couch and watching TV, You know, when you're working for a few hours a day and you go home and you're like, oh, I'm fucking tired. There's people who are putting in 12 to 15 hours, even more, every single day. There's people working 6 to 7 days a week. My biggest and greatest fear was always like, I'm not working hard enough, I'm not working hard enough, I'm not working hard enough. And that's something that always chases me until today, that I'm not working hard enough and I can always work harder. Now, there's also taking it to a point of being unhealthy where I'd work 7 days a week and have no break. And then the following week, I'd just burn the fuck out and I wouldn't do anything. So it actually would be really bad for my productivity. But you do have to work hard, and through that working hard, you create your own lane where you're not competing, because no one can take that hard work away from you. So I really think there's something valid in doing that. If you're putting in the hard work, you know, all of us get to this level, but it's really hard to get to that level and get yourself to that top level. And there's I think it was Charlie Parker, famous jazz player, basically said there's plenty of room at the top. And I get that, because there is plenty of room at the top. Once you get to the top, you're not competing. You have your own sound, you have your own vision, you have your own goals and dreams. There's room for everyone to get there, but there's no easy way to do it. You have to work harder than the majority of people to get to that point. And there is the exception. There are some people that are fucking lucky. But if you build a strong foundation, you're going to stay there much longer. Yep, there's people who rise really quick and they fall even faster. And that's what I was told by one of my mentors. He said, work hard and build a strong foundation, and no one will take that away from you. And I'm feeling those things as I'm slowly progressing. And it is slow, and you have to be patient. There's days where, I wasn't confident like this. I wanted to fucking quit. I'm like, why the fuck have I spent so much money on a studio? What the fuck am I doing? I have those days, and those days are perfectly normal. But by creating something like this is kind of my vision of creating an environment where when you guys are having those shit days, that you don't need to just sit alone, and you can like express it and say, you know, shit is fucking difficult, or my song got knocked back, or, you know, like I did a YouTube thing the other day about how to embrace your shitness. And basically I was just talking about like, it's okay to be shit. Just accept that that's where you are right now. I've been shit for many, many years. I've been shit at everything that I've tried to accomplish. You know, I started in drums, and when I started I was crap, but because I was young, like I didn't think about being crap. There's so much pressure on ourselves about being the greatest, but being the greatest takes many, 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 many years. And if it's something you want, there's plenty of room up there to go get it. Another little thing that I want to talk about, like in the industry and just as a human being reliable, answering your phone, keeping your word. The industry is about relations and networking. This is a really good platform for networking. And when I asked you guys at the start, like who's collaborated, who's got in touch with who, this is only the second one, and the first one we already had people collaborating. I went to one of Armand's rehearsals. He's got this dope song coming out on Mother's Day, and he got together a choir, and there were people from this Squad Sunday, the first one, and it was just so cool to see people coming together. You know, we are making the connections, and for me the hardest thing was like, where the fuck do I go to network? Like, what, do I go to a pub and be like, hey dude, do you want to network? Like I didn't, it felt really fucking awkward to me, and it's still, even after a drink I feel a little bit better. I just know that's what works for me, you know, to be able to talk and whatever. And maybe same with Lionel, after a drink it feels a bit easier. But networking is really important. Answering your fucking phone, like it's amazing how that's kind of dead and gone. Like all of you here, you don't have to put your hands up, but who gets a call and they're like, I'll answer it later. And it's fine, I get it. Like we're all busy. It's perfectly fine. But the first thing I do if I'm busy is I'll just apologize to a client and say, hey dude, sorry man. And I'll just send a message and be like, hey dude, I'm just in a session, I'll speak to you later. Yeah. For me, that's like showing that I'm reliable, that I give a shit. You know, don't ignore people. Networking is important. Showing that you're reliable and that you're there. As soon as someone's flaky with me, I don't even mess with that anymore. If they're flaky, I don't care who the fuck they are. They could be, a huge top artist. If they're flaky, I don't want to mess with that, because it creates more work. It's more difficult for me to try and get in touch. If I'm trying to do something with an artist, we need to be connected. I need to be able to get in touch with them. I need to hear their feedback. You know, I've had clients who like hit me up 3 months later. Oh yeah, the correction's fine. Can you fix this? Like, fuck. Like, you know, you're paying money, get back. Both ways, guys. Like, as a music producer, if you're reliable, people are going to trust you. me putting out YouTube videos, what am I doing? I thought to myself, I always get people in for free sessions in my studio and chat to them so they can get to know me and trust me and see that I'm not a dick and going to screw them over. Yeah, it might not be the cheapest, but I charge what I feel that I deserve. And from these YouTube videos and creating content, I'm actually, it was terrifying for me, but I'm just letting you know who the fuck I am. I'm introducing myself. I'm saying, hi, I'm Spike Leo. And by the time people get in touch with me, they're like, hey man, I'm keen to work with you. And so I'm just trying to create relations even when the person's not in my studio. And even from that relation, I'm still showing them I'm reliable, I'll answer your calls. All my clients here who've worked with me know that I say, you can contact me 24/7, you can message me, you can call me, you can email me. If I'm free, I'm gonna get straight back to you. That's a service I provide, and that's not, many people won't provide that. And I do that just to show you that I actually care. I really do care. I love making music and I want to do this as a career. And if I'm treating people like shit and if I'm ripping people off, what's going to happen? Not much. Nothing's going to grow. And things are growing only because I just got comfortable with being myself and I'm being honest. And when I first started making my videos, I've said it before, I sat on the couch, I did 20 takes. Hi guys, Spike Leo, today is Monday. Like I felt like a fucking dick because it feels really awkward sitting in a room and talking to yourself. Doesn't feel authentic or genuine. Now I'm getting more comfortable with it because I'm like, you know what, I don't care what people think of me anymore. I don't care if you don't come to the next squad Sundays. I don't care. Yeah, I don't care if there's 4 people here because the 4 people that are here actually give a fuck and want to be here and want to make something and they're hungry and that's what I'm resonating. That's what I want to do. I'm hungry as well and I just want to surround myself from those types of people. The other thing I kind of want to talk about is courses. I know a lot of people speak about courses, and I think the most value that I got from doing a course, which wasn't even a music production course, is just networking, is actually meeting people who are in the industry. This Squad Sunday thing is like the best thing that you'll get from a course without paying $40,000 to $70,000. Yeah, because the courses have an academic degree, which means you have to do a theoretical aspect of the course. There's a lot of writing and essays, and a lot of the time you're not even in the fucking studio or not even singing because you're sitting there writing papers because that's how you get your bachelor degree. And I had a conversation with Lionel a while back about, we were talking about courses and I was like, fuck bro, it's like legal crime. Like they're charging so much money for what? It's unbelievable. And it makes me angry. And I'm not knocking courses. There are things that you will learn in there that you might not learn anywhere else. They are valid, but it depends on you as the individual because it's up to you how much work you put in. I realized when I went through uni, there were some people who fucking did amazing and some people who didn't. I didn't do the best because they were going home and practicing their fucking ass off. They were practicing and working hard. And uni's not going to do it for you. You actually have to go home and work. You actually have to be in the studio. You actually have to practice guitar and piano. This dude used to learn like 75 pages off by heart at high school and play these crazy crazy pieces. It's like really admirable and fucking crazy. And that's just putting in the work. There's no other way to do it. So I think courses are great, but I do think I kind of think of the course I did and I was like, wow, I really would have rather invested that money into private tuition because I just wasted a lot of my time. Also had a lot of girlfriends and had parties and had fun, and that was all amazing and great. But in the grand scheme of things, like you're essentially going there because you want to fucking learn how to do what you do and be one of the best. So that's basically my spiel, guys. That's kind of the things that I thought about through the month that I just wanted to offer you. I know I gas bag a bit, but I really feel passionate about those things, that they are valuable. They might impact you all differently, Some of you might be at the stage where you're like, wow, I do feel uncomfortable about video, but it's something I'd really like to do. It's something I wanted to do for like a year and I just didn't because I was shit scared. And I was like, oh, people are going to think I'm a dickhead. And I was like, I don't care if people think I'm a dickhead anymore. Do you guys have any questions or any comments with any of the stuff I said? Does anyone want to share anything or?
Yeah, with the course situation.
With
the course situation?
Sure.
Yeah, like they can't teach you. They can give you the paintbrush and tell you what paintbrush to get, but they can't tell you how to paint it. Even though like there's certain structures behind things, But a lot of the time, like, I'm in studio with other producers and stuff, they do shit their own way, and it's so dope. Like, it's like, that's not a normal way to fucking mix. But they just do some crazy-ass shit, and it works. And I think that's what counts. Just do some crazy-ass shit, and whatever you feel. Don't feel like these are the barriers that have been set. This is the structure that has been set, and you need to follow that structure. Fuck that. Like, just do what the fuck you want. Because music is, at the end of the day, is an expression. Whether you're mixing, whether you're fucking playing an instrument or singing, I think it's a form of expression. That's why you have to just do what the fuck you want.
And I agree.
I think that like we've spoken about this before. I think the school system is, I mean, I'd say like it is what it is. You got to kind of almost learn the rules to break them. Yeah. Like when I was there, I did a diploma of sound production, and within about like the first kind of 2 months, it had fucking weaned itself out from everyone who was like, you could tell there's like 18, 19-year-old kids whose parents are like, sweet, you gotta go to fucking uni. They're like, yeah man, fucking DJ school sounds sick. And then there was people like, and then when I was there, I'd done it for fucking years in the industry before with no schooling, learning myself, teaching yourself. But to go there and then you learn the actual theory behind why you do the things you do. Okay, this is why I've done that, because this is in the actual back end of it, this is what it does. Then like that allows you to then further break the fucking rules. But teachers reckon that like teachers are fucking people as well. The guys who teach these courses have been in the industry for a fucking long time. Like about 2 or 3 months into it, it was literally me and the teacher running every class of the rest of the fucking year. And whenever if the students wanted to watch us mix down one of my tracks or something I'd done, they could chime in, because the teacher's like, dude, if you're fucking keen and you're into it, I'm gonna do everything I can to help you. Like you'll get what you put in, the same with anything. But I think there's definite fucking barriers when it comes to learning in a creative field, because once you leave that school, you'll notice everyone who thinks they were fucking top shit at school's a bubble. There's a real world outside of that. So I think it's kind of recognise that. At the same time, like for me, it was dope. I learned the reason I did a lot of the things I taught myself, which like that sort of fucking shit is just dope, because when you roll into another studio or you're using a different board or different software and shit's not where you think, you're like, cool, all right, I know what I'm doing, what I need to get to. Now it's just finding out what tools I use to get there, rather than just being lost and like, fuck, I'm not in my setup where I know which button to press in this order. So you can kind of, knowledge is fucking key.
And that aspect is dope. But back in the day, didn't have courses. So back in the day, like Bruce Springsteen and all those cats, I was watching the Defiant ones. So you guys on Netflix, you've been watching that shit? Yeah, that like it's dope, because they threw themselves into the. They didn't know how shit was working out. And then but we live in a day and age where we have Pensado's place. You know, we have YouTube. You know, we have so many
beat on a laptop that no one with any name has touched, with no studio, with no label backing. That'll go viral, and you'll have 200,000 subscribers tomorrow. Like in the 80s, you couldn't do that. Like you just could not. Like different time, play the fucking game we're in.
There's literally a dude on YouTube singing about llamas.
Who is that? That Man's Not Hot, the comedian. He's played some bigger festivals than any artist will ever fucking touch. And it was a skit. It was a comedy skit that the internet took like.
Brilliant. Yeah, so it doesn't always have to be amazing content. It just it doesn't, you know. Like it's kind of sad. There's definitely value in shit that's good, because shit that's good is fucking good.
As long as it's genuine. Like something that I learned when I went overseas, I met the girl who had control of Beyonce's Instagram. She was saying that the most popular, the Instagram that stands out to her is Cardi B, because everything on there is genuine. Sure. And if your content is not fake, if you're not fake, then people will follow you. Yeah. Like if people will like your shit, you know,
I agree, bro.
As long as it's not fake, then you're cool.
Yeah, that's a huge point that Simon said. You know, like being authentic and being real. Like you can kind of make this perception that you're doing well, or make this perception you are something you're not. I did, just for an example, like last month I did a YouTube video about how shit my February was in business. It was like the worst fucking month I ever had. And I just shared that because like, I just thought, you know, I'll be real. Like we all look at these Instagram people who have had major success and who are fucking killing it. You look at these, I was looking at this producer Zed the other day who's got like this, I don't know, very expensive house. I don't know how many millions, but you look at some of these people, you're like, oh fuck, that would be nice. And I just think like the dude has done really well for himself. But there's a lot of people out there just being fake and painting some bullshit, and you can see right through that, and you're not going to follow it either. I think there's something about being authentic, and it's hard to get to that place where you're just vulnerable and you're just yourself, and you're like, fuck, am I enough? That goes for everything in life, you know, not just your art.
Yeah, the industry feels like it's just full of those two-faced people that are nice to your face, but they'll go behind your back. Like,
the fake it till you make it.
Yeah, and there's cats who are like, you know what, I'm gonna put this persona on. It's not even them.
Yeah.
And they're like, you know what, this is the way to make it. But really, no. Like, you can make it, but you're not gonna be happy with yourself.
Yeah.
You're not going to be you when you get there.
And no one give a fuck about you when you're there either.
That's right.
And the people that you do work with are only the kind of fucking arse end of the group that's below you, because they're the only ones that you can fucking pull a wool over their eyes. Because you've tried to work with everyone else in the industry and everyone knows you're a fuck with.
Yeah, I mean, it happened the other night. Like, we had a session, and there was some guy in here, and he's meant to be really, really good at keys in the hip hop industry, and he just made an absolute ass of himself. He was just I'm just gonna say, he was a fuckwit, from what I heard. And like, who's gonna want to work with that guy? You know what I mean? It's so valuable to be a good human being. Like, all of you are good human beings, but don't try to be something you're not. Don't try to front and just make connections and rub shoulders with these people because you think that they're big. I mean, everyone is just human at the end of the day, and some people have had more success than others, but we've all gone through the same kind of journey and the same shit. And, you know, I love people who are real. I love people who are genuine. They're my favorite people. All you guys are here for that reason. And yeah, if you treat people that way, I just really feel that you're going to get it back. Anyway, that's my two bobs. I'm not going to crap on too much. I want to introduce you to Mr. Towers. Do you want to come sit on this chair, bro?
Oh, if you want me to.
I want you to. And I'm gonna. I'll take this. So I got Lionel in because the last. Oh, I feel really small now. Just leave it. It's fine. It can be tall. So the last squad son, Lionel's really humble, so he's not going to say what he's done, so I will. But he was with a band called Gypsy The Cat. They're not together now, and they wrote a few albums. They had a lot of success on their first album. They did really well. They toured. They were up. You're up on the farm. You know what? I'll just let you talk about it. But he's a really great guy. He's a very close friend as well. I've known Lionel. We went to music school together. He's a shit hot pianist, and when I say shit hot, like shit hot. He'll never tell you how shit hot he is.
You'll never know.
But he's a really lovely guy and a great musician.
Thank you, Spike.
That's all right, bro. Maybe I don't tell you.
Yeah,
enough.
I kind of don't. I'm not really much of a public speaker, but yeah. So I don't even know where to begin.
So I'll ask you questions. So how did you get started? Like, what was the first kind of contact that you and Xavier got in the studio and started putting together an album?
Well, we kind of met DJing. We DJ'd at this nightclub. I don't know if it's still open. It's called Boutique. And we both kind of were into similar sort of music, like kind of Frenchy sort of house stuff at the time. And I was already sort of working on just dance music, basically. It's kind of what I started my music production career, so to speak, doing that sort of music. And we kind of, we just hit it off, and he came in. I had another friend who mentored me, taught me how to produce, and we had a little sort of setup similar to this in South Melbourne. And we were sort of, making stuff, and it was all just sort of for fun. And then this Xavier guy that I met as a DJ wanted to sort of work on some material together. And we ended up sort of, I don't know, at that point in time, I sort of decided that I was kind of over writing dance music. So I started sort of exploring other genres and artists, and sort of began, I guess, I kind of missed out on this whole rock and roll thing growing up, so I started like listening to Led Zeppelin and stuff, and I was like 22, so I don't know if that's young or old, but that's kind of when I started listening to it. And then I was listening to a lot of French electronic music like Air. I'm not sure if people know. We were listening to, you know, just all sorts of things, and I was just kind of grabbing bits and bobs from all sorts of genres and kind of, I don't know, I was just kind of winging it. And this Xavier guy, he was kind of with me as I was doing this, and I'm not much of a singer, and he was certainly not a singer at that time, and I was not comfortable because I tested my voice out on the mic, and I just sounded crap. So I sort of asked him, well, why don't you go behind the mic? He'd never sung at this point. And he sort of did sing, he was sort of whispering into the mic, but like he put a bit of reverb and some compression and stuff. And at the time, this was 2007, around 2007. There wasn't really, like, people weren't really exploring the whole slap on heaps of reverb on the vocal at the time. So that was kind of a good way to sort of, you know, do something that was kind of a little bit different. And it worked with his voice, and he kind of sounded a little bit like, I don't know, at the time I thought it sounded like John Lennon, but like now listening back, it's far from it. But anyway, his voice seemed to work on the music. And so one song led to another, and then led to another, and it was kind of this indie sort of pop stuff that we were doing. And then I think after about sort of 8 months, we decided, okay, we've got like almost an album's worth of material. MySpace was really big at the time, so we started a MySpace page, and we, you know, most bands at that time were sort of trying to get out there with MySpace. So we did the same thing, and what I did at the time was I put it up. I knew the music was strong enough. I kind of had that conviction. There were a few friends at the time who was like, oh, I don't really know about this, but you know, and it seemed to, anyway. So we put it up, and I started adding fans from other like similar sounding bands to our page, like, just because at that time I think you could add friends. So it was pretty spammy, but like we kind of knew that people that were engaging on their pages would kind of like our music because it was not too far away. And then basically we, I think one of the people we added was an A&R guy from EMI, and he was the first person to email us back at the time and say, yeah, this is really sick. Can I come down and meet you guys? And so he came down with his boss, and that was kind of the beginning of everything, really. So we sort of, you know, continued what Spike was talking about, continue these relationships. And there's this whole courting process when you get approached by record labels. So they were the first, and then the woman from Sony approached us, and then it all started coming in, sort of all at once. And then we ended up, what did we do? We ended up getting a lawyer. That was the first thing we did before we sort of decided who and what we were going to do. We got a lawyer. And there's only really, in the music industry, there's only kind of like 3 good ones in Australia. Well, 3 companies anyway. So we used Brett Oaten at the time, and he basically helped us navigate our way through the whole kind of signing process. We had who was it? EMI. So it was the first people that came to us. They came and they were like, oh, you know, they really wanted to sign our record at the time. And they flew us around basically to meet their executives in London, and then meet their executives in LA. And then, so we did that whole thing, came back. Our manager, we had picked a manager at this point. He wasn't happy with the deal that they were offering us. So they ended up funding us to go around again, but meet all the other record labels. So we did that. And then came back, we did like a showcase. We'd never performed live at this point, by the way. We hadn't done a single gig. Like, we didn't even know what we were going to do live, actually. So we did have to, I guess, show them when we did these sort of really awkward boardroom showcase things where like a bunch of like maybe handful of people would sit around and I'd have like a keyboard and Xavier would have a guitar and we'd just kind of wing a couple of the tracks, and it was awful. I'm surprised we got signed. But anyway, we got signed and moved to London. And then at the same time, we had a Triple J Unearthed, which is really, really valuable. And it was good for us at the time because that, they started playing one of our songs. And then it all sort of spiraled, I guess, up into sort of, we were pretty successful at the time. And we started playing festivals, we did all the big ones at the time. We got booked for Coachella. We didn't have the money to do it, so we didn't do it. So that's probably my biggest regret to this day. But anyway, so in hindsight, we should have got a loan out because that would have probably cemented us a bit more over in the US. So we did that. We got Aria noms for the record. We had like 4 or 5, maybe 3 or 4. Hottest 100 songs. Anyway, we did a whole bunch of things, and then decided that our label wasn't good enough. So we found a loophole in our contract, and basically asked to leave. And so we did. And we released our second record on our own label. The reason why I go label, because anyone can really start a label. It's not really a label. It's a vehicle to put your music out on. So we did that on the second record, and we made more money doing it that way. Wasn't as successful. So that happened, and then and it took a while to sort of release the second record, and then maybe it took us even longer to release the third record. We worked on the third record for about 4 years. We had about 3 versions of it, and every year we thought we was that close, and then we scrapped it because it wasn't good enough. And that really hurt us because you lose that momentum. You lose your fans get older and blah blah blah. So
They start listening to Britney.
ironically, yes. I mean, the 90s thing got really kind of popular. Like, it was really cool to go to parties and everyone would play 90s music, whether it was like Backstreet Boys. I think it's still cool to do that.
I don't know, we'll pop it on later and see what happens.
So yeah, that happened, and and we released this third record. We did have some success on it. We had a lot of blog success as well, but we didn't really know what we were doing. We had we hired a publicist. There was a couple of pretty good Australian publicists that we had on board, but they can only do so much. And then we just, we sort of decided, enough was enough. That was 2016. So we'd been together as a band for about 9 years. And then I actually instigated. I said, it's probably time that, maybe we pursue other things. And ever since then, I've sort of just been a freelance producer. So since then, I've been, working with, a bunch of various people. I get a lot of work through a lot of the major labels still. I get, and then I do work with the independent. Like, I've been working on this hip hop artist called Okenyo for a bit. We're going to do another EP. Which is really good because as a producer, I've sort of been able to explore different genres as well, which, for me, that was kind of what I was really missing being in a band. We were sort of stuck to doing what, I guess we couldn't delve too, we couldn't write rap on our tracks, it just wouldn't work. So that's been a good thing. So I'm still sort of out there doing production stuff, just kind of stuff that, I want to do. I sort of pick and choose I'm fortunate that I can pick and choose what I want to work on these days. I'm not really reliant on it for money, which is good. So yeah, that's kind of I'm sort of I'm really wrapping it up quite quickly, but
That's all right, man.
that's sort of where I'm at this point. So
Thanks for sharing, dude. I guess I kind of just want to like make it an open platform to ask whatever you want. Like, it doesn't matter what stage you're at. You might have questions about struggles or how important is it to, understand music theory and blah, blah, blah. And I don't know, like, it might be about copyright and AFRA. Lionel's pretty knowledgeable about that shit. I've asked him lots of questions over the years, helping me with that kind of stuff when I've had issues. So have a think. Has anyone got any questions they want to ask?
Yeah.
Go for it, bro.
In light of your experience and how you guys started out, I guess you signed to a label when you were more like impressionable and starting up, and obviously left them after your first album.
yeah.
What do you think of the changing landscape now in light of a lot of artists being independent and not needing labels at all, especially in Australia?
I completely.
I was going to ask the exact same thing. Would
Nah,
you still sign
I
if you got that big this early in your career?
Look, there's pros and cons. I think kind of the route that we took might be the best in the way that with a major label you can kind of get kick-started a bit quicker. But if you've already got following and stuff like that, I would just say go down the independent
A
route.
lot of the labels won't take you now unless you've got a following.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and at
that's
that point, you're kind of like, well, why would I, give away 80% of my record to you when I've done it all and I've already got the following? What are you going to add? And really, they just give you an interest-free loan. That's basically all they give you. They call it an advance, but it's
With a lot of
you pay
other
it
things
back. The
behind
good
it.
thing about it is you don't actually have to pay it back. So if you flop, they've
Some-
given you 200,000 or 100,000, whatever.
Some
That's
contracts.
yours.
I've seen some in the last few years that are fucking ridiculous.
Okay, I haven't heard. I know. I've heard of lots of people getting stitched up, but not usually. I mean, there's no real way they can force you to pay that $100,000 back if they've given you that.
Like
Well,
if they can give you conditions that you need to meet to qualify for that advance, and they could just be really ridiculous, so they know you can't do it. Like an Australian artist, you've got to put in so many hours in our LA studio and get yourself, and they know that if your album flops and you don't get to the studio, you've breached your contract.
Mm-hmm.
Or just put in a lot
And
of
so,
really,
what does that actually mean, though? What? How do they benefit from that?
that they can kind of sign or have their fingers in more artists around nationally, especially in Australia because we're so far away. And go, cool, if we sign you, you're part of our